Hello everyone, welcome to the second chapter of Analytics Programming course. In this chapter, we are going to learn review. Actually, all of you know Python very well. So we are just going to do a short review on basics of Python in this chapter with both theoretical concept and also with coding. And next chapter, in chapter 3, we'll learn about some advanced concepts of Python, like different data types, everything. That too with theoretical and lab practice. Okay, so you will see two video recordings in the chapter 2 and chapter 3. The first one, for chapter 2, you will see the video recording of tutorial, and separately there will be another video tutorial on lab exercise. The same thing for chapter 3. You will see two video tutorials for chapter 3, one for theory and the another for lab. So this video tutorial is to cover the theoretical concepts on chapter 2, basics of Python. In your textbook, if you go to chapter 2, they cover the basics of Python in that chapter. So I'm just going to review the thing that is covered in chapter 2. Along with some coding. Okay, so even though you know these concepts already, I suggest you to review it and brush up your skills in Python. Your lab and homework, all those exercises will help you to brush up your skills. Okay, so let's get started. So in this chapter, you're going to learn, I'm going to cover these things: introduction to Python, and then operators, different operators of Python, how to use functions in Python, and conditional statements, loops, iterations, and what is object. There's a concept called object introspection. So what is object introspection? How to use that for efficient coding, and then what are the magic commands, how it would work, and then how to use the date time module. So these are the things that I'm going to cover in this tutorial. So let's get started. Introduction, that is introduction to Python. So it is invented by Guido van Rossum in 1990. So it's been around more than 2 decades. It has been popular because of a lot of things. The first reason is it is open source. So as of now, it is open source. And there are a lot of updates, lot of libraries. That is why it is so popular. And it is named after a comedy group called Monty Python. So those are some few things that you may know it already. So it is aimed to create programming easy. You can learn programming easily, do coding efficiently and quickly. So that is the mission when they started. It is managed by Python Software Foundation. Okay, so as we know, the best features about the Python is easy to learn and rapid development because of the libraries, and less code and less time and more efficiency. Okay, so because of it, it is mostly used by many popular MNCs, Google, Yahoo, Cisco, HP, YouTube. So most of the organizations with big data use Python because of all those its features. Okay, so in this course, what ID we are going to use? As I told you before, Jupyter Notebook and IPython. Mostly we'll use Jupyter Notebook. Okay, sometimes we'll use IPython. So what is IPython? IPython is like, it offers enhanced read evolve print loop, REPL. Okay, so how it is different from the normal Python interpreter? You can execute the multiple statement together in a single code, and it has some additional features like syntax highlighting, all those stuff. Okay, but mostly we'll use Jupyter Notebook. Even if you want to use the IPython, we will use the IPython through the Anaconda prompt, not through the normal command prompt. Okay, so we'll discuss those stuff in the lab practice. So why Jupyter Notebook? Okay, so Jupyter Notebook save a lot of time in terms of different perspectives. I have uploaded a video how to use the basic tutorials on how to use Jupyter Notebook in module 0. So please refer to that video tutorial to get started. Okay, so I prefer Python because of a lot of stuff. It's easy to teach, easy to theoretical concept and coding concept. Code by code, we can run the code snippet effortlessly, easy to read, easy to write and understand. You can run the whole code together or components separately. Okay, so then code autocomplete. You can simply use, there is a feature, I'll teach you how to do that. You can just select the autocomplete to select the functions or attributes from the objects. Okay, so there are a lot of popular features are there in Jupyter Notebook that you're going to enjoy during coding. And limitation, in terms of limitation, it is comparatively slow than the normal IDE. So not feasible for the production environment, which will not be the case for academics for learning, which that is not at all a problem. But when it comes to the production environment, the Jupyter Notebook is not that efficient because it is web-based environment. So that is the cons. And let's do a short review on Python. Okay, so even though you know it already, we'll brush up some concepts. As we know, comparing to the other languages, the one main difference is the braces. Okay, so in other languages use brace, and Python does not deal with braces. It's all about indentation. Okay, so four space. Okay, that is called indentation in Python. So instead of brace, we use indentation. It is loosely typed languages. It is as JavaScript and Python. These are like loosely typed languages because you don't need to specify the data type and you don't need to declare the variable before you use it. Okay, the other languages like C++, Java, or tightly typed language where you have to declare the variable before you use it. So that is one main advantage that we already know. And in Python, everything is an object, whether it is data type, everything, each and everything is, because it is fully object-oriented programming language. So each and everything, data type, everything is object. So that we can combine the attribute and function together along with the object. And accessing these attributes and methods is easy. In Python, simply specify the object dot, and the list of attribute, list of method will be there, and we can simply use any method. Okay, so it is easy to access all those attributes and method which is available in built-in methods or libraries. Okay, so like importing the libraries is very simple. Simply by using the import command, you can pretty much import any kind of libraries, and you can use those functions which provided by the libraries. And arithmetic, logical comparison, and strings, special a lot of operations so that we're going to see one by one briefly. As you know, as I already know it, I'm not going to go deeper. I'm just going to brush up the things that you already know. Most of the Python objects are mutable, except few except tuple and string. Most of the Python objects are mutable. That means you can change the element and the position of the element. The data types are scalar data types. That is, it is more easy for handling numerical data. Okay, in terms of numerical data handling, it's kind of more easier in Python, and it is powerful and flexible. It has powerful and flexible string processing capabilities. That's why, like, you can either use single or double string. It doesn't matter because it is flexible in many aspects, and also it has a lot of built-in methods available to process the string. So, which is very important feature when it comes to text processing. Okay, so for those kind of applications, which will be very useful. And in how we represent Boolean in Python, the true and capital T, uppercase T true, uppercase F false. Okay, so that represent Boolean values. And typecasting, you can simply change the type of the data from one to another simply by using that particular function. Okay, if you want to convert a particular For example, if you want to convert this float into int, you can simply pass this as a parameter into int function to change the data type. Okay, so typecasting is easy, and Python use null value. Okay, if a function doesn't return anything, then obviously it returns null. Okay, so it uses null to specify anything, not a none value. Okay, so next we're going to look at the operators of Python. So arithmetic operator, we're going to see all the arithmetic operators, which is given in the slide. Please refer the slides, and the comparison operators, logical operators like and or not, and the assignment operator. We'll see one by one. So I'm going to open my Jupyter notebook to explain these things. Okay, so please refer the video tutorial of how to use the Jupyter notebook to become familiar. I'm just going to run the cells to in the lab. The lab section, I will explain everything in detail, but since it is lecture section, I'm just going to explain the concepts through this coding. Okay, see, simply you can assign the variables as it is. You don't need to specify, you don't need to declare anything because it is loosely typed language. So I have just assigned a variable without specifying it, and then I can do any kind of arithmetic operation. If the value is 14 and 5, if I divide, it will give you the normal division, okay, with float value. And if I use the double slash, then it will give the integer value, the whole integer value, and the modulus will give you the remainder. Okay, so if you divide 14 divided by 5, the remainder will be 4. And the this is exponential. Okay, so 14 divided exponential 5 value is going to be 7,824. Okay, so that is how we can use the arithmetic operation. And comparison operators, similarly, have specified two values. So whether A equal to B, it can give the comparison value, always give you the Boolean value, whether it is true or false. A equal to B, it is false. A not equal to B, true. Okay, so like that, less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than, equal to, you can use any kind of comparison operators as given in the slide. The comparison operator always gives you whether it is true or false. Okay, Boolean value will be the output. And logical operators, as you're familiar, and or not. Okay, so when both conditions are true, it will be like whether A is greater than or equal to 20, A is 20 and B is 30. So the or will check either one. If either one is true, it will give true, and both of the conditions should be true. Okay, so not means it will just do the negation on that. This one is false, and I do the negation, it will return true. Okay, so that is logical operator. And then assignment operator, you can do the compound assignment. Okay, so instead of doing A equal to A plus B, you can simply say A plus equal to B. Okay, so that is called assignment operator. We'll see some assignment operator here. Assigning X equal to 12 and Y equal to 17. When I do the compound assignment operator and print it, it gives 90 because it is compound assignment. Similarly, I can do this assignment for all kind of arithmetic operation: compound multiplication, compound division, integer division. Okay, so those things. Next, data types in Python. So in next chapter, we will see the data types in detail. But in terms of number, mostly, as we know, integer, whole number, floating point, the decimal, complex number, Boolean number. Okay, Boolean means true or false, 0 or 1. Okay, so those are numerical data type. We'll discuss those data types in detail in the next chapter. So, but I will just look at few codings in terms of data type. So we will use the type function to get what type of data, the actual type of the data. We can use the type function. For example, if you look at this code snippet, I have two variables. One is I'm converting as you know, when you use the input function, it will be string. We will receive it as string data type. To convert it into integer, we have to pass it to int function. Okay, then n1 will be the integer number. And similarly, the received input will be converted to floating point number, which will be n2. And here I'm doing the division. And here I'm just printing the type of the result. Okay, so if I give n1 as 10 and 15.5, number 2, then number 1, number 2 is getting printed here, and number 1 divided by 2, the value, and the type of that will be floating point. Okay, so once you divide, it will be automatically, even though in the n1 is integer, once it divides, it gets converted to floating point automatically. Okay, so type is the function that we can use to find out the type of the data type. And similarly, as you see here, the type of A and B, if you use the type, then it will say it is Boolean type. Okay, and similarly, complex literal is the real. It's the combination of real and imaginary number. For example, if I create a complex number 4 plus 5j, if I use the type function and find out the type of the A, you can see the type is Boolean. One important feature that you have to be familiar in Jupyter Notebook is if you use a variable and plus type and then use the tab function, the tab function will give you the list of associated method and attribute. Okay, so since we have specified A as a complex number, they use dot, because dot, using the dot operator, you can access the attributes and methods, right? So using the dot, and then this A will become the object here, dot, and then the methods and attributes associated with this object A can be given by pressing the keyword tab. Okay, so if you press the keyword tab keyword, just in your keyboard, you can see the tab button, right? If you press it, you can see the list of methods. So if I type conjugate, if I select conjugate, then it will say the value of that. And similarly, if I can type dot tab, I'm pressing tab here, and imaginary value. Now it says the imaginary value. Let me run it again. You can see the A imaginary value is 5. Okay, so similarly, that you can use the conjugate. This one is attribute. If you use the conjugate function, that will help you to get the mirror image of the complex. Okay, so the complex is 4 plus 5g. If you want to get the mirror image, it is 4 minus 5g. Okay, that you can get. Okay, so what is next? We're going to see the functions. So precedence, as you are already familiar with the precedence concept. You know that PEMDAS rule, right? Parenthesis, exponential multiplication, division. Okay, PEMDAS. By using that, you can just find the precedence or any language. Okay, but to get the proper, to avoid the logical errors, always use parentheses. So you know all these concepts already. Let's move on to the built-in functions associated with the numbers. Okay, numerical value. Round function will help you to find the nearest integer. If it is above 0.5, then it will get the higher number. If it is below 0.5, then it will give the lowest whole number, integer number. Okay, so here you can see integer value. Now it is 20. And if I get I'm just getting that floating point. I'm converting the floating point to integer type conversion. Okay, similarly, you can get and the 3 exponential value that gives the 3000, and the absolute function will give you the positive value, and max function will help you to get the maximum number, and hexadecimal hex value of 10 will help you to get the hexadecimal value of the given number. And the act function will help you to give the actual value of the given number. Okay, so these are the built-in functions. And if you want to know more built-in functions, explore more built-in functions, please refer to the link given in the video tutorial, the Jupyter Notebook file. Okay, so if you refer to this, you can find the other built-in functions. Just play with the functions, be familiar with all the built-in functions. You may need it in future for when you get into the real data analytics. Be familiar with all these built-in functions. Okay, next we'll discuss about the math library. Okay, so math library and random library. So math library has a needed set of built-in functions that you can use to perform advanced mathematical operation other than the arithmetic operation. To import math, to use all those functions, you have to first import the library. Okay, so here I'm importing the math library, and from that I'm importing the pi function here. Okay, and then math library has the functions like ceiling, floor value. Ceil will get into the nearest highest value. Okay, nearest higher integer value. For example, if it is 3.14, the nearest highest value is 4. Nearest lower value will be 3. Okay, square root of any value, given value, square root value will be given. Okay, so if you want to know more about the functions available in the math library, I have given the link here. So just go through that. There are tons of functions available for advanced mathematical method operations. Okay, so just refer the website to explore more. Next, I'm moving on to the random library function to import random library. Okay, to pick any random number generation, you will use it in many applications. Okay, so to use all the functions available in random library, you have to first import the random library. And first, I'm going to use a function called uniform function, which will return any value between the given threshold 1 and 5. Okay, if I run it, it gives some floating point value with the limitation 1 to 5. And similarly, if I use rand int, it picks any value, any integer value. If you want to know more about the random library and the associated function, please refer to this. Okay, please refer to the link where I have shared the link to explore more functions in the random library. Okay, so that is all given in this slide. And now we are moving on to the conditional statements and loop statements and iterations. Okay, conditional statements, this or that. Okay, if else. I'm not going to go deeper into that, all those concepts. I'm just going to briefly explain all the concept in a shallow level. Okay, first we're going to see if else statement. Okay, so if the condition is met, what should be done? If the condition is not met, what should be done? Okay, so how we are going to do it in coding using the Python language. So this is the syntax. If is the keyword, you have to give the expression for the condition, and inside the indentation of that block, we will specify what should be done if the condition is true. Okay, so for example, if the A is greater than 5, print A is greater than 5, or else print less than 5. Okay, so if you write it in coding, we are just assigning some variable. If is the keyword, expression is given here. You don't need any parentheses actually. Semicolon with the indentation. This is the block of the statement. So if the condition is true, this block will be executed, or else this block will be executed. So if I run this, it executes the first block because the first condition is true. Okay, so that is how the if statement, if what, if else what. Next, we are moving on to the looping concepts. Okay, so doing the repetitive what until a condition is met. Okay, so like all other languages, Python has for loop, while loop, do while loop. For loop is so popular comparatively comparing to other languages. So see different examples using the loop in code. Okay, so one facility that is very useful in Python comparing to the other languages is its list data type works very well with the Python, with the Python's for loop. Okay, so that it reduces a lot of coding efforts. So it temporarily creates a temporary library. For example, a is a temporary value. The values given in this expression will be assigned to this a variable. Temporary within each loop, with each iteration, the a value will get changed. Okay, so it just fix a random value between 3 to 10, and every time we are printing that random value here. Sorry, it's not random, it's range function. Range function gets the value between 3 to 10. Okay, so 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, these are the values that will be assigned as a list and will be passed to this temporary variable. And in each iteration, the value is getting printed. Okay, so that is for loop. And here what I have done, I have explained how the break statement works. Okay, how to use the break statement. So the break statement will actually keep a particular block of statement when the condition is true. Okay, for example, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, 3, 4, 5, just run the value. Break will completely break the looping. Okay, so it just picks the value between 3 to 10 when the condition is met. So it starts with 3. Okay, the condition is not true, so it is printing it. And 4, 5, 6, condition is not true, so it is printing it. And when the condition is true, when the I value becomes 7, then what happened? It just completely break the loop and come out of the loop. Okay, so it's completely cut off the operation, cut off the iteration, we will use break. The other hand, continue will not cut it. It will just skip a particular iteration. For example, here we are giving the values. We are passing the values range of the value between 10 to 20. The temporary variable is x. When the x value, the modulus of x value is equal to 0, we are skipping that. If not, we are just continuing it. For example, the value will be starting from, it will leave the 10. Okay, it will start from 11, 12, and until 20. So 11 will be printed, 12, 13, 14, everything will get printed. But when it comes to 15, modulus of 5 value will become 0. So it will skip that particular iteration and move on to the next value, which is 16. So it will print 16, 17, 18, 19. When it comes to 20, again, the modulus of 20 will become 0 and that iteration will get skipped. Okay, so this is how the continue will work. Okay, so in these three problems, we have just reviewed how break statement works. It will completely stop the looping, and how the continue statement will work. So the next one, we are going to see enumeration. Okay, enumeration. What is enumeration? Enumeration will automatically combine the list of variable along with the indexing. Okay, automatic indexing can be done by using enumeration. For example, here we have the list of months. And here we have two variables, one variable to handle the indexing, the another variable to handle the list elements. When you use the enumerate function, the enumerate function keep track of indexing along with the elements. Okay, so here you're passing the index list elements, and here when you try to print the iteration value along with the elements, you can just track it. Okay, that is about enumeration function. So next we are moving on to while loop. Okay, so while loop will execute the statement again and again and until a condition is met. But the difference between the while and for loop is it's kind of, in terms of operation, it is same. You will, in for loop, everything will be shorthanded. You can just give everything inside a single for looping statement, but in while will give the value, iteration, everything. And here the condition. Okay, while this condition is met, while I is less than n, what is I value? 1, n value 10. While this condition is true, the variable is getting incremented, and we are just printing some operation. We're just doing some block indentation operation. Okay, so that is how the while loop works. Okay, so here the s value will be will get incremented until I value is less than 10. So I value will be, when I value become 10, then it will stop. Okay. So when it stops, 1 plus 0, 2 plus 1, like that, each time the I value will get added to the S value. And when the N value become 10, that addition will stop and the result will be printed here out of the loop. Okay. So that is how while loop will be used. Here I have just used the while loop with conditional statement. So while A is less than 3, print inside each time with each iteration, increment the value. Okay. When you increment the value, here you're saying yes. That means if it is less than 3, print it. When it goes greater than 3, when it, in the iteration, so first time the A value will be 0. So it will print inside. Next time after implementation, A value will become 1. It will print inside. Second time, the A value will become 2. It will print inside. So the third time, the value become 3, which is not less than 3. So it will just print outside. So this is how I have combined. We can combine the conditional statement and looping statement. So the next slide, I have explained object introspection. What is object introspection? So by using a question mark before or after a variable, you can get the general information about that object in Python. So Python gives that facility by simply using that question mark that will act like an operator that will help you to fetch all the needed information about that object. Okay, single question mark will specify what is the object, and by using double question mark, we can find the source code, function source code. The whole source code can be, if possible, the object source code along with the functions function information can be retrieved. Okay, so you can just do it both in IPython or Jupyter Notebook. I will explain it in Jupyter Notebook. For example, here I'm just creating a list, and when I use this question mark, that is object introspection operator, you can see it just fetch all the information related to that object, that is the B object here. What is the type? What is the form? What is the length? All those stuff can be retrieved, can be fetched. Here I'm using this print is also an object. Okay, so everything is object in Python. So when I type print question mark, you can find all the necessary information along with the syntax. Everything can be fetched. Okay, what is the file? What is the syntax? Everything can be fetched by using this single question mark. And here I'm creating a user-defined function, simple user-defined function, and I'm just trying to use the question mark object introspection to see the information about the function that I have created. Okay, the name of the function and file, what is the type, all those stuff can be retrieved. And if I use the double question mark, you can even find the coding. With single question mark, you just got what is that function, location, all those stuff. But when you use the double question mark, you can even get the code. What is the code inside this? You can even get the code. Okay, it's called object introspection. So next thing we are going to see magic commands. So what is magic commands? So the magic command is any command prefixed with the percentage symbol, like question mark. It's a percentage symbol. Okay, so these are designed to facilitate common tasks that enable you to easily control the behavior of IPython particularly. Okay, so when you use the percentage symbol, it is automatically a magic command. Each magic command has a meaning. If you use simply the percentage magic, it will give you the list of magic functions available. The percentage auto magic, when it is active, it will just call the magic function without the percentage. Percentage hist will print the input and output history. Whatever you have inputted, whatever you have outputted, those history can be received with the percentage history. So let's try few things here. Percentage magic. When you try it, you can see what are all the information about the magic commands can be retrieved here. Okay, so you can just completely get the documentation or the magic command. Similarly, let's try percentage hist. And I run it. You can see. So what are the, you can completely get the history of everything, whatever I have typed. Okay. So this is a magic command that will help you to find what are the keyword, what are the key commands that you have used so far in that particular file. Okay, so I started with the variable declaration. You see everything, whatever I have used in this file so far can be retrieved easily by using the command histories, which is going to be very useful command. Okay, to find out whatever for maintenance, in terms of maintenance, history will be the useful command. Similarly, there are other lot of useful commands, magic commands that you can use it. Okay, along on the way. The next thing, date and time module. Okay, so like other languages, Python has a lot of library functions available to handle the date and time. Okay, to import any kind of date and time library, you have to first import date, time, but library from the directory data. Okay, so and then you can just import all the methods associated. Okay, so mostly in datetime module, you should be familiar with this symbol. Okay, what is the meaning of each attribute along with this percent? Because percentage is magic command, right? So you should be familiar with the attribute. What is the meaning of each thing? Just explore that. I have given you the link here. I will post the link to explore more on the datetime function. Here, let's see few basic things that you can do with the data. So I'm just importing the datetime module from the datetime library, and then date and time separately the modules. And then here I'm passing that. I'm just calling the today method, which is under date library, date module. Okay. So from the date module dot. So if you want to see what are the methods available in the today library, date dot tab. If you press tab, you can see all the methods available here. I'm just going to select today. Okay, today method. And then here, that will create an object DT. So in that object, you can find all the variables attributes available. If I type dot tab, I can get the day. That will get the today's date and today's month similarly, and then year, and then even the ST, string formatting time. Okay, so that will help you to format the time given in the parameter, set the parenthesis, whatever format that you need, you can just specify it. Okay, to this delimiters, you can specify the formatting of the date and time. Okay, so if you want to know more about the datetime library, explore the documentation where you can find other useful functions. Okay, so thank you. In the next video tutorial of chapter 2, we're going to do some lab exercise to train. Okay, so then you have to submit the lab exercise, whatever I'm going to teach in the next tutorial, the lab tutorial. You have to do it along with me, and you have to submit it under lab assignment. Okay, see you in the next video tutorial. Thank you.